Greetings and welcome back to Project Zomboid. Now, the new series I'm going to create to replace Apocalypse, since it has run its course, is going to be called Walking Dead. And I will be using mostly the default Apocalypse settings. I will be tweaking corpse removal and so that the corpses stick around longer. I don't want them fading after just a week. I will also be removing or altering the spawn unseen time to 28 days so that it is easier to keep areas clear. I don't like the little 16-hour setting. But other than that, we're pretty much using the default zombies. I will be tweaking the experience gain and time frame because I do like the slower paced and slower game. I will be using random characters, and I will be testing my mod as I make progress on it. So there will be changes, probably from week to week. I don't know how much I will get done during the weeks, but before we get started, I actually wanted to go into my mod a bit. Let's see. It would be this one. No. This is the default directory, and basically for modding, all you have to do is go into the Project Zomboid scripts and Lua and kind of see how they did things. Like if you look at, say, items food, you can see how they formatted it, and if you want to change things in it, what you do is you create your own mod. And where is my mod? Oh, I'm on the textures, that's why. Go into the scripts here on my mod. No, this is Hydrocraft. This is my mod. Scripts. Right there. And as you see, I take, like, say, their base items food and have done some changes to them. I've changed what, basically I've added in display categories. So it's going to be easier to sort things. Now, I haven't completed every item yet. That's, like I said, this is still a work in progress. I've also changed the replace on use, and I am borrowing a lot of images from Hydrocraft for this. And I've changed some of the evolved recipes. And I've added in a bunch of evolved recipes. But basically, yeah, you just create your own folder and it will override most of that. Now, the biggest problem is the base items recipes. No, don't do that. Open it. Thank you. If you go into these recipes, yeah, you can do override on them, and they will override the recipe. But that only works if there is only one recipe with that name, because like in this case, there were 5 add timer recipes. Each one was slightly different. And if you used override command, it would only override the first one. You could not get rid of the others. That's the reason I had the double image or the double recipe list for the unstacked logs when I did a modification to them, which I have here. Can be done from floor. True. I added to the unstacked logs. Now, the problem is, since I couldn't override them, what I have to do for my mod currently, until they add in a way, is I have created an override where I've gone through and obsoleted a lot of the recipes, especially the ones that were duplicate, because that command means that recipe no longer shows up and I don't have to worry about it. And I have to copy this and paste it into the folder here, which I have already done before I launched the game. So it has replaced this with my override in the actual Project Zomboid directory. Now, the problem with this is anytime they do changes to this file, when it patches, it's going to re-download the file, and I will have to go in and copy it back over using mine. But I'm doing that just so I don't have so many horrible double images of recipes. I wish they had a Lua command just to clear out the recipes in the base folder, because I have added every recipe in the game into mine because I intend to tweak them. There were a couple that were redundant in my opinion, and I really would like it if they would go through and just change it to where each recipe had a unique name. Like they could call this Unstacked Logs 2, and Unstacked Logs 3. And then we wouldn't have this problem. But that's a lot of work they'd have to go back and do. But yes, there are quite a few of these recipes that I have actually made changes to. Mainly it was in the tools sections, the stuff required to do certain the tools you needed to do certain things. I'm getting ready to change quite a few of these. As I implement more items, I need to be able to add more tools to it. And when they have these tools listed on things, like, where's one with a good long list? Right there. The priority is, it starts here. So if you had, say, a kitchen knife, a hunting knife, and a meat cleaver in your inventory, since meat cleaver's first on the list, that would be the one it would try to use first. And then it would go, and I have changed the order on some of these. Basically, I have for any of the butchering recipes, they originally had kitchen knife as the first one on the list. But when it comes to butchering meat, I think meat cleavers should be your priority. And I also think they had the order of some of these others out, and I'm going to be adding in other knife types like steak knives and stuff like that, inspired by or just ripped completely from Hydrocraft. But yes, so I've been doing some changes to all of these. So I basically have all of the default recipes already copied over. So I can do tweaks to them whenever I need to. As far as you can see, these are the base items I've worked on so far. Food, I'm not quite done with. I have redone the containers, basically to rebalance the ones that I did not like the ones that weren't sufficient enough, like this one. This one I think originally had like a 5% weight reduction. Same for the cooler, and the first aid kit only had a 5% weight reduction. So I decided to go back through and make all of these containers actually useful as containers. And I have started on the food. I've only gotten down to the vegetables so far. I haven't really started on the fruits yet, and as you can see, that's not even a quarter of the way down the list. Now down here we have the recipes I've been adding. Prepared food, I've added in chili. I've added in the ability to add toppings to bowls of food. So like, say you have a bowl of soup, you could put shredded cheese or croutons or stuff, or diced onions. You'll be able to like sprinkle them on top of the soup just to add a little extra more. Same thing for cakes. I will eventually be adding in, like whipped cream and stuff like that. Of course, a lot of this stuff, it's going to be really hard to make until late in the game after all the existing stuff is gone, but I plan on making this a long haul game. And of course, I've added in pots of chili. As far as the vegetables, I have currently only gotten down through, I think, broccoli, when I've been adding in, because I have to go through and find new icons for these so that they show up. I put them under my textures. As you can see, I've changed the avocado to be an actual avocado, and then you have a halved avocado, you have mashed avocado, you have sliced avocado, and you have diced avocado around here somewhere. Oh yeah, right there at the start. And I had to do rotten images for each of them. I've added in avocado pits and avocado husks, so you are generating food trash. Like after you half an avocado, you'll get an avocado pit you have to throw away. Bell peppers, I've done the diced, the halved, and of course they end up with husks. You have julienned bell pepper, sliced bell pepper, and each of these will be available for different evolved recipes. Same thing for the broccoli. You can half it or you can chop it, and that's about as far as I have gotten so far. I am in the process of adding in guacamole, and the default for that is basically mashed avocado and salt. That's your basic guacamole right there, and I will make an evolved recipe for it where you can add other things to it, like diced onions and stuff like that. Diced bell peppers. And back to scripts. Alright, so I've added in some cooking recipes, of course, making the different things, like dicing them. And on each one I have an on create that goes into the Lua. And I'm going to be tweaking this experience because I want mainly the food prep to give beginner's experience. Once you're an intermediate cook, you're not going to get too much experience from this, so I'm going to be tweaking the Lua eventually. And this recipe right here is going from a whole a halved avocado straight to diced, and it requires you to be an intermediate chef to do it in the first place. It basically is helping cut out steps as you're more experienced. Same thing for this. I've got a mashed avocado recipe that you can start with the whole avocado. You have to have some sort of thing to cut the avocado and either a mortar and pestle fork or spoon to mash it up. But yeah, I've added quite a few recipes and been working on the Lua side of it. And I have of course, added in the making bowls of chili from pots. I have tweaked the sounds a little bit. Basically now you don't hear the chopping sound when you're adding items to recipes. You hear the chopping sound when you are prepping food. Because if you go through like the food here, let's go down to avocado and I will show you. And I could probably have found it faster just by doing a find command, but right here, avocado. Evolved recipes. The only one you can use it in is a roasted vegetable, because you can toss an avocado in a roasting pan and roast it. But it's not really easy to throw a whole avocado and expect it to turn out decent in soup or stew or salad. And I have it causing unhappiness because you've got a thick skin pretty much around an avocado. If you've ever tried to just eat an avocado like an apple, it doesn't work too well. It'll leave a bad taste in your mouth. So that's where the prep comes in. And as you prepare, actually let's go to vegetables. Yeah, as you prepare avocados, like you half an avocado, it's still only available for roasted vegetables, but the unhappiness has dropped. And if you slice it, well, yeah, you can use it in burgers to top chili, pastas, pies, rice. You can use it in a lot of things once you slice it, and there's no unhappiness as it's prepped. Same thing for mashed. You can use it in quite a few things. And diced, you can use it in quite a few things. Same thing for the bell peppers. Just a halved bell pepper right now is only available for roasted vegetables. But as you slice it, it's available in more things. And julienne actually reduces your unhappiness because that is a very well prepared version of it. Now all of these things are linked to the Lua recipes, which I'll show you in a second. Then my cooking recipes, of course, is what I was showing you when I was talking about the Lua. And I've added in a few trash items. Mainly I've poured in a lot of the empty cans that Hydrocraft used, so that each can looks unique. And I've added in my trash, which was the pits, the husks, and stuff like that. And I will get into using the trash later on. Now once I go over here to the Lua, which is this directory, it's broken down into 3: client, server, and shared. Now the shared is mainly where translation is. So I have to go in here, and for anything new I create, like my new evolved recipes, I have to create a translation for it to show up properly. Same thing for other recipes, since I have mine named with Domine's Universe, DU, at the end of it, just in case somebody else comes out with one, they won't conflict as much. I had to come in here and create recipes for names for that, and any item categories I created, because as you can see right now I've got breaking down for containers and for types of food and for literature, so it's easier to sort things. Under the server is where you will have a lot of your XP stuff and the recipe code, which is fairly important. This is the one I was talking about. Like, let's find, oh yes, right here. All right, make bowls of food from a pot. Basically, the main thing I added in was this, where it takes the age of the current item and scales the age of the new item based on that. So like if you have let this thing wait until it's almost, say, it's not fresh anymore, and you had originally poured it into a bowl, it could almost immediately become rotten because it just took the age as it was. So now it's scaled based on the age of the new item. Now other items, sometimes they would reset the age entirely when you created the item. But I had that issue with bacon. I had bacon that was no longer fresh, and I was dicing it up into bacon bits, and it immediately became rotten because it was taking the age of the bacon, which has a longer days fresh, days till totally rotten than bacon bits do, and immediately becoming rotten. So I want it to scale. And down here in the food prep, you will see it also has like times age boost. So I have it basically, you take the person's skill level in cooking, and that helps them cut away a lot of the parts that aren't fresh to extend the age of the item. And it also, every step of prep, their skill level affects boredom and unhappiness. Because the better chef you are, the better you prep, the better the food you end up prepping becomes. And I've also added in recipes for using improper tools, basically crudely doing something. In this case, say mashing a avocado crudely, you can do that with your bare hands, but it's not going to be as good as if you had the actual tools. See, in this, it basically converts the hunger and all of that over. In this, you're losing 20% of that because you're doing it fairly crudely. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of work on the Lua and stuff. On the client side, this is where I've added in show skill up name and show XP gain. I'm going to remove those and just activate the mod. Oh wait, I know why I had those in my mod, because they disabled a lot of the strength XP. So let me undo that. For now, I'm going to keep using these because the main thing that they had done is they had down here, if it was strength, then they cut down on how often it showed up. And I wanted to see it all the time because this is still a mod and I'm testing it. Now over here, I took the blacksmith code that they had in the game and reactivated it, because currently blacksmithing is disabled in the base game and I want to see it. I think it was right down here. Yeah, they had local disable furnace anvil as true, so they basically had shut down blacksmithing. You couldn't get what you needed to start blacksmithing, but I have re-added it, and under, I believe it's server, is it XP system? Yes, I have reintroduced the blacksmithing skill back into the game. And I will be adding more skills as we go along. Like I said, my goal is to make the game at the complexity level that I enjoy. So that's mainly what I'm going to be doing. I've grabbed a lot of textures off of like all of these avocado pictures. I basically grabbed them off the internet and converted them into, actually I think paint is a better way to zoom in. Converted them into the PNG files so that you can see them a little better, and so they're a little more unique. And as I said, this is a work in progress. I've got a lot of stuff I have to do to get a lot of this stuff working, and it's going to be a long and arduous process, and I don't need my calculator up anymore. Anything else? Let's see, close my debug log and close that one. I don't believe I had changed that. Okay, yeah. But I've been creating a folder of notes for things that I want to eventually incorporate. My current thing is I've been trying to find a way to set strings for names, because right now once you pour a bowl of soup, it stopped, like say you had the soup with that unique evolved recipe name. It said like vegetable and beef soup. You pour it into a bowl, it just becomes bowl of soup. It doesn't retain that name. And I'm looking for a way through the Lua to change that. So I'm going to be checking the evolved recipe code in the Lua files. And of course I'm in the process of adding in guacamole next. And then I have to finish bell peppers and broccoli. And I'm going to create sweet pepper relish and spicy pepper relish. And then we're going to be going on with a lot more things I have to do once I finish all the food. I think that's about it talking about my mod. Now I currently have the gate mod activated because I'm testing it out, and I have my the professional framework is what's allowing, and the extra skill system is what's allowing me to add in the skills, and of course my mod. So we're going to go into custom sandbox, and we'll start in Moldraw with our first one, and this one is Walking Dead. And I have already created the sandbox preset for this. Yeah, the time I have increased again, but I'm keeping the start month, start day, and start hour the same in the default. No changes under world or nature or sadistic AI directory. Under the meta, I've increased the time for corpse removal up to a full year. No changes in loot rarity. I've decreased XP gain. And no changes in vehicles, and I am using their default zombies complete with the infection. But under advanced zombie options, I have increased the respawn unseen time to 28 days. And we'll be using random characters. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so we have a repairman who is a restless sleeper, agoraphobic, that means he likes to stay indoors. Agoraphobic baseball player. That's an interesting combo. He's a slow reader, and he is resilient. Now that's another thing I plan on changing. After my experience with illiteracy is only 8 points. Yeah, let me take slow reader off of here real quick to see it. Yeah, illiterate is 8 points, whereas slow reader was like 2. Illiteracy is 8 points, and it is devastating when a lot of the recipes core to the game have to be read from magazines. There's no other way to learn them. So just like fitness and strength, I am planning on adding a literacy stat. So you can, say you're a slow reader, after enough time reading books, you can speed up how quickly you read. It's going to be based upon your stat level for literacy. And if you start out as illiterate, well, maybe you can get your hands on some children's books later in the thing and teach yourself how to read, especially if you find ones that require batteries that actually speak the words and stuff to help you, and eventually get up to where you can read. And so yeah, that's one of the changes I have planned. But I'm resilient, that's good. Less prone to disease. The agoraphobic baseball player is just kind of funny. And restless sleeper, I'm slow loss of tiredness when sleeping, but it seems to me like I become sleepy more often. But there we have that. Let's get a random character. 1, 2, 3. Maude Mccauley. Alright, Maude Mccauley, repairman who's an agoraphobic baseball player. I guess she's kind of gregarious, I would say. She liked to hang out with her friends. They liked baseball, even though she didn't like being out in the open. She just kind of got used to it because her friends were there to anchor her. But now that they're gone, you know, and the zombie apocalypse is happening, yeah, that agoraphobia is really kicking in, because when she's out in the open, she's vulnerable. There's zombies everywhere. So let's see where we start in Moldraw. A 2-story house. This looks like a house close to where, yeah, this is one of the houses on the row that I was on in the last game. Alright, so I have some scissors. Now, a lot of this stuff, yeah, as you can see, not a lot in the fridge. It's just like the base. I'm using the same rarity as the base game, but at least I have a weapon. Let's attach that to our left belt. I'm a slow reader, but what books do I have? An auto manual and the engineering magazine to make the noisemaker. That can be useful. Now I've got more stuff upstairs, but I want to check this first. Paint. And I'm sneaking just in case there's zombies nearby. Alright, nothing really overly valuable there. Let's turn on this light. Got a dead mouse. Got a bandage. I'll keep that up here for now. I'm mainly looking for food to secure and weapons. And containers if I can find one. And nope, no containers. Make sure all the lights are on. That'll help me know when the power shuts off, because like I said, I'm using the default settings. It can go off almost immediately in this game. Alright, that's about all that I can look at right here. Only weapon I have is a pair of scissors. I mean, I could use that spoon or fork. So I need to go out looking for more. I have access to a plastic bag there. Not the best container. Only holds 8, 30% reduction. But it's a container. Let's equip that secondary. And let's put this mouse in the freezer. And do I have a key to my own house? Yes, I do. It's the front and back door. Alright, so now that we have gotten established, I'm going to go around and close all the curtains real quick. Just so stuff doesn't see me. I hear something beating on a door or window already. Where? I'm getting panicked, but I don't see it. I'm getting panicked because I'm outdoors. Oh, they broke my window. It was the back windows. And they're in my house. Alright, so we've already got a little bit of insecurity in our home. Let's go ahead and remove the broken glass from there in case I need to bail. Alright, so this is where we started. It's not too far from my house in the Risen Dead line. But this playlist is actually going to take place at midnight. I am moving it from this time slot to Tuesday and Thursdays at midnight, so it will actually start up next week. This was just the introduction to it. And I'm clearing this time slot, the noon time slot, for a new playlist I will be doing, which is I did the promo for it Sunday, and it will start up next week. It is Subnautica. I'm going to be doing a playthrough of that and releasing it in this time slot at noon. But we will actually start this in detail this coming Tuesday. And hopefully over the weekend I will get a little bit more done on my mod and see if I can't get some of the other recipes I wanted to try. Because going through their recipes, I found a lot of interesting things I could do. Let me tab out and look at that. Yeah, in their recipes, let's just find it. All right, disinfect, that'll find it. Disinfect rag. All right, so if we look here at the disinfect rag and bandage, right here. Now, using a water pot, you can only do it when the water is boiling. Well, it's this line right here, heat minus 0.22. The thing's got to have 0.22 of heat for you to be able to do this. Now, I thought, hey, that's interesting. I could use that to create like sauteed vegetables or things. So that's one thing I plan on trying, is seeing if you can take a frying pan and, say, sliced or julienned bell pepper, put this modifier on it, and then you'd have to put the frying pan in the oven for a little bit to get it hot and saute the bell peppers. So that's I'm going to be playing around with some of the different modifiers they have in that. And if I go down to some of the blacksmithing recipes, let's see, near item. Yeah. Okay, right here, when they had the metalworking for the blacksmithing, they had near item anvil. Now, the anvil is not actually an item. It's a piece of furniture. So that's going to allow me to overhaul a lot of the things from Hydrocraft, like the junkyard. Instead of making a junkyard item and having to throw it on the ground, I can actually make the junkyard something you build, just like walls and doors and things like that, and have near item junkyard for the recipes. But we will get started on this next week. So thank you all for watching. I hope you're interested in seeing my mod as it is developed. And I'll see you next time.